So this is based on modern design principles. So there are three main aspects of this GUI. First thing is that it's adaptive or responsive. What do I mean by responsive? Think of the situation. An employee in the company has applied for a leave and the manager should approve leave. And what do you do in the current world? The manager either has to log into SAP on his desktop or laptop. It could be Mac or Windows. And then select his workflow or go to the app and approve his leave, right? A sales order has been created and the sales rep is waiting on the customer. The customer calls and says, yes, I'm confirming my order. And what does the sales rep do? He goes, logs into the system, go to VA01, create an order. But the world has changed a lot, isn't it? People no longer use desktops or laptops the way they have been using them for the past 10 years. It's a mobile world. So does the SAP GUI that you know of work on the mobile? Well, there are some tweaks and hacks, but overall it doesn't, right? But the new UI Fiori is designed to work responsively on any browser. The browser on your laptop, browser on your desktop, browser on your Android, browser on your iPhone. Anytime, anywhere you have a browser, you can use that app, right? Now what you see on the screen is Fiori on a laptop or a desktop, right? With full form factor. I just want to show you that this works equally well on an iPhone or an iPad. Well, what's the difference between a desktop and an iPhone? It's the form factor, right? An iPhone is just 4 inches across or 5 inches across. So the entire application has to work within the confines of that little rectangle, right? An iPad may be a little larger, but still it's not the equivalent of a desktop or a laptop, right? So let's pick an app. And the way you pick an app is very simple. It's like how you pick a tile on your iOS or Android. For example, what do we want to do? We want to create, let's say, for a change, let's go to purchasing, right? Purchase order processing, all right, and create purchase order. That was easy, isn't it? And then it lists out a bunch of info records based on which you can create purchase orders. So say I want to create an order based on that and click on create on the bottom right corner. Now, since you're looking at this for the first time, you might not understand where the buttons are, what the search is. We'll get to that in a bit. So create. And here is your new purchase order screen, right? It's not much different from what you see in the SAP GUI, just a little bit pretty. You got your supplier or vendor, and then company code, currency, purchase org. This is all the stuff that you enter at the header of your purchase order. And then you enter materials, quantities, and the plant where you want to create it, right? For example, I want to create it in 1060, all right? And I want the company code to be 1060 as well. And what else? I think that should do, but there's a net price, right? Go enter a net price, say $100, right? Now, this is your purchase order screen that you would look at in a full-fledged desktop or a laptop. How would this look like on your iPhone? Well, in the browser, any browser, Chrome, Internet Explorer, there is a functionality where you can see the different form factors of the same website. What I've done is just hit F12 on my keyboard and then click on this button. This toggles the form factor to different devices, right? So click on that. This is your regular full size. Click on that again. And then you have, say, an iPhone 6. Okay. So this is the form factor for an iPhone 6. And this is how your website is going to look like, your purchase order screen on an iPhone 6. Cool, isn't it? The same screen that was spread out horizontally is now vertical. And that happens automatically. You don't have to build your app for that. The framework called UI5 that SAP Fiori is based on is responsive. And when I mean responsive, it's this adjustment of the different elements on the screen to different form factors. Form factors meaning sizes, length and width. If the length and width changes, the way the elements on the screen that are displayed have to rearrange themselves. When an app or a website does that automatically, that website is called responsive. So Fiori is based on a responsive framework. So all apps work on all form factors. And that's by default. You don't have to do anything for that. You don't have to code it, in a particular way to make it work on an iPhone or a desktop. The framework, like I said, UI5, that's the technology behind it, is by default responsive. Now this is an iPhone 6, right? So you can do the same things that you do on your desktop, right? All the buttons are here, and then there's a search here, right? It's pretty intuitive. You have been using your iPhone all along, right? And it works absolutely fine this way. And you can navigate around easily. You don't need to be trained on that, right? It's so easy. You want to see it on a different form factor, say an iPad. This is how it would look on an iPad. Maybe in portrait mode. But in landscape mode, this is how it would look like, right? You rotate it and then it goes to landscape mode, and this is how the app would look like. And this is all inbuilt into Fiori. All right. So one of the key features of the Fiori UI is it's responsive. The second key feature is that it's role-based. What do I mean by role-based?